second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, next we will move on to non-agenda public comment. Seeing as we have public tonight, does anyone have a non-agenda comment that they would like to share? All right, seeing that there is none, we will move on to council member announcements, meeting reports, and comments. And we will start with Councilmember Hall.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have much to report other than we went to the Lola dinner, and it was that was nice.
Yeah.
That was everybody, well, not everybody, Mark didn't make it, but 4 of us showed up, and it was, the county's moving. You know, the county's moving. I think it's pretty obvious that we're in the process of moving forward.
Thank you. We'll go to Councilmember Mazzoni.
I have nothing at this time. I'm sorry that I missed the Lola meeting. I'll make sure I make it for the next one.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Tavallaro.
Me? Yeah. I always have something to say. I have been noticing, I want to thank Public Works for our Tesla charging station cleaning up because it looks very good, and I drive by there, I don't even know how many times a day. And I've never seen no cars there, which most of the people are not sitting in their cars. So I'm hoping that they're walking through town or going to one of the restaurants or someplace, gas station for snacks on the boulevard. It's nice to see that car lot being well used. And honestly, I have to say I'm not surprised because people get off at Weed Boulevard to go out 97. And then the flowers look good down Main Street. They're starting to come back to life. There was a problem there for a minute with a few of them. And Carnivale this weekend was successful. It was hot, but it was hot last weekend for the 4th of July, so it was just hot. But it was successful. It was a lot of fun. And I think that's it. But you know how I am. I might think of something else. I'll let you know.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Palfini.
Yeah, I, like the other 3, attended Lola. I found it interesting because our executive director of the Siskiyou Community Resource Collaborative was one of the guest speakers. So it was nice to see somebody close by. I do want to thank the city staff for the same thing that Sue is talking about with making our city presentable, and the Tesla station. I want to say gas station, but I know that's quite the difference there. And I would like to say that C2C, which is a call your information and something center up at the Wairika rest stop north of Wairika, appreciated the TOT donation, so thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Well, I would also echo the remarks of their council members for attending the Lola dinner. Weed is always very well represented, including our council and our college administrators and our resource center, as usual. And we were commended by other members of other cities on what we're doing here in Weed and the progress that we're making moving forward. So that was always good. I do want to thank staff both for the Tesla station in the downtown as well as for all the staff work at Carnivale to make sure that was safe and successful. I think that went very, very well, and as usual, and appreciate everyone pitching in to make that happen across the board. I know there's a lot of work behind the scenes that people don't see to make that a safe and successful event. And that is all that I have, so we'll go back to Councilmember Tavallaro.
Delivering Meals on Wheels today. I drove by the Wendy's, and there's a sign out front that says, training employees. That's a good sign.
That is a good sign.
That's a good sign. Huh?
This for hire the week before.
I know. And there was a whole bunch of cars in the parking lot, and I want to be the first person in the door, but I don't know when it's going to open.
It's a race.
Who am I racing?
Friday, we're going to inspect it.
So you'll call me? Okay. Yeah, there was a bunch of cars in the parking lot, and I got outside, and then there was a sign that said, employee training.
I heard the first day was a cook your own.
I'm good at that. I know how to cook a hamburger. Or two.
2,500.
Yeah. I can cook 2,500 of them.
All right, we will now move on to the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry.
we've got
I
presentations.
missed, we're gonna move on to presentations now. And we're gonna begin with the presentation honoring Tony Pimentel for his 30 years of service to the city of Weed.
Come on forward, get your picture taken. Come on now.
Come on, Tom.
No, don't let him get away with that.
Gotta have a picture too.
Council, at this time, I'd like to ask Debbie and Tony Pimentel, please join me at the podium. Council, as you know, Tony's been serving the city for 30 years as a city mechanic. He wasn't just a mechanic. He went over and beyond his line of duty. He always helped us on water leaks, sewer plugs, whenever we had to replace sewer pipe, crack sealing, you name it, Tony was always there. He did a lot for the city, and he's going to be well missed. And as we know, you can't do this type of work without a good support group. So I'd also like to thank Debbie for supporting him through these 30 years. And on behalf of the city, I'd like to present Tony Pimentel with a plaque. It says, Anthony Tony Pimentel, in honor of your retirement, we thank you for your 30 years of service and dedication to the city of Weed. Congratulations. Enjoy your upcoming adventures. Thank you, bud.
Thank you, Tommy.
And again, thank you for your term of service. It's greatly appreciated and will be missed. All right, we will move on now to the consent agenda. We have any discussion on the consent items?
Excuse me, Mayor. I'll make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as written, and I think we do have a commentary from our attorney, if he's around or if he's on air.
Let's see right
There we go.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Yes, I do need to provide a oral summary related to item. There's a lot of items on here.
L.
I actually,
I, rather.
which is the contract for related to for the assistant city manager. Under the Brown Act, we are required to provide a brief oral summary of the terms of that agreement, which essentially compensates the acting city manager at the rate that the city manager is currently compensated, only for the term that Chief Mayberry will be serving in that capacity until he is replaced by an interim or permanent city manager. All other benefits are to remain the same. And a copy of this agreement will be available through the city clerk's office upon inquiry for anyone who would like to look at it.
All right, thank you for that summary. We have any other comments, statements, requested changes?
Nope.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I already did that.
Oh.
The one's on the table.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Carried.
All right, there are no items removed from consent, so we'll move on to public hearing. Council will hold a public hearing to consider special animal permit for Casey Joy at 941 South Weed Boulevard.
Am I allowed to comment?
So we'll start with the staff report.
1 second. Trying to get to that item. Basically, you have an application before you for a special animal permit for 3 goats at that property on Southbury Boulevard. The community service officers did evaluate the property for the housing and containment. Everything seemed appropriate other than a couple items were identified by the building department, and that the front fence has a screening material that's not allowed under municipal code. The height's appropriate, but the screen around it is not. The back fence around the main shed or house is a 6-foot fence that would have required a building permit that didn't get obtained. Other than that, a survey of the neighbors, and also I believe letters went out for tonight. There's been no complaints regarding the animals around from the neighboring residences.
All right. This time we'll hear from the proponent.
Thank you. I am in the city. I did come from Asheville, North Carolina, and before that I was in Nevada City, and there were no problems. But I do realize I'm in the city. However, I do have 1.5 acres, an acre, 1.4, I believe. But as far as the fence, I put the screening material over to make it look better, but I realized maybe to some it may instead look unsightly. So I will remove it. And I also obtained a proposal from Lowe's to have a real 6-foot tall cedar fence. So it would look really nice. And I wanted to do that anyway to extend the boundaries for my boys, my goats anyway, and my cats. So I do have the proposal here, and I could do it within the next 30 to 60 days. I know it's really hot out, but I do have it. And another thing, I live right next to a highway, so if they are, I think they're very quiet, but if there's a little bit of noise, we have a lot of sound anyway. I believe my neighbors really love them. They give them cantaloupe and melons and watermelon, and I do want to add that they're neutered. They don't have any horns. I'm not breeding them. I'm not doing anything agricultural. I'm vegan, and